is Sam Fisher.
We've got an airsoft gun.
Hello and welcome to the latest installment in the Guns and Gear review series. Today I will be going over in full detail my RealSword Type 97. The Type 97 has been faithfully reproduced by RealSword, a Japanese airsoft company known for making some incredibly high quality guns, both internally and externally. This gun is currently out of stock or discontinued on almost all US websites. It can still be found on eHobby Asia or Red Wolf Airsoft for a pretty hefty price. Not to mention shipping these to the States will cost a lot. I got this gun used for $340 off of Airsoft Forum in a buy-sell trade. So I got it used. It came with an upper rail. It also came with a sling, 3 magazines marked in RealSword, or marked specifically for the Type 97 even though they are STANAG mags. Also included with this gun was the RealSword specific Type 97 battery, which goes in the pistol grip, the handguard, and above right where the gas tube is, but it's a nickel hydrate and I prefer to use my 11.1 LiPo from Tinergy. Now, if you did purchase this gun brand new like the previous owner has, he told me that he paid $660 just to get this gun. That is a really high price tag for an airsoft gun, but I must say this is a really rare gun. It is just hard to find. It took me about 3 years to actually find this gun. I've had a few shots at it. I could have gotten it for $300, but I'm comfortable with what I paid for it because I got a lot of extras, things I needed. Like I did need a 1-point sling, I needed that upper rail, and overall the gun is just in great working condition, untouched, nothing's been changed on the inside, and it is just a really good gun, built rock solid with this what I would call really close to the real steel gun. So I think whatever the real gun is made out of, this one has also been made out of. So they say that it's made out of polymer, and then the metal components like in the lower receiver where the magwell goes is made of this aluminum or duraluminum. So it's supposed to be really tough stuff. So CNC laser etched trademarks, CNC milled metal.
I can't see dick out of these things.
It's just a really high quality gun, and that is why it costs so much. Also, the rarity also bumps the price up. So the reason I like this gun so much is because it's in Battlefield 4 and it was in Splinter Cell 1. Now I really just like the look of the gun overall. It's personal preference. Some people may not dig the Type 97, but for some reason it just looks really good. It's really comfortable, and yeah, I just like the weapon because of the way it looks overall. Anything that has a built-in carrying handle like the L85 or the FAMAS is just in my book a good looking gun. And I'm a huge fan of bullpups, so this is like my 3rd bullpup, probably my last one, and I used to own an F2000. So the real Type 97 is made by a company named Norinco. They make a US import or just an import version that takes 5.56, and that is where the Type 97 comes from. The original gun is actually the QBZ-95, which was developed in China and is their service rifle. The QBZ-95 is actually shaped in 5.8 times 42 millimeter, while the Type 97 is our standard 5.56 that we love so much here in the States. The RealSword is a 1-to-1 replica of the Type 97, so it is very realistic in every conceivable way. They even have to turn the gearbox upside down in order to get it to work. So during the unboxing, a big topic that came up in the comments was how to take off the rust that I found on the barrel and some of the other components. Truly, the rust is kind of worn off just by me touching it, if that makes any sense. And I don't even see the rust anymore. Like it's almost unnoticeable to the point that it does not bother me at all. If anything, it's kind of cool, kind of since I'm gonna really use this gun a lot, field it a lot in airsoft, if it gets a little banged up or it has a little bit of rust on it, I really don't mind. So I'm gonna pull some specifications on the gun off of Red Wolf Airsoft. I don't believe it's for sale on here. When I go down, it just says the price, which is $449, but I don't see like a buy it now option anywhere on here. So for the specifications, the original Type 97 magazine, and I think it was a mid cap, holds 130 rounds. The overall weight of the gun is 3,400 grams, which is roughly 7.4 pounds. Now the gun is a little on the heavy side. Anybody who's picked it up has said it's a pretty heavy gun, but in my opinion it's alright with me. So the battery compartment on this gun. To access the battery compartment the RealSword originally intended for you to use is really it's kind of tricky and I don't like it. You remove this big pin in the middle of the gun here, and then the entire low receiver along with the grip, which is just one piece of polymer, will remove from the gun. the trigger will disconnect from a trigger bar, and then you'll see like a wire, a car fuse, and then the standard Tamiya connector, which will go down the pistol grip. Now the pistol grip had like a shelf right above the hollow pistol grip, so I dremeled off that shelf so that I can stick an 11.1 just through the pistol grip without even having to take the gun apart. So that made changing batteries on this gun so much easier than actually using the nickel hydrate it came with. There is another modification to this gun that I've seen from somebody at my local field. I met this guy, he had a Type 97B from RealSword. I talked to him a long time ago in the past, told him I wanted to get this. When I showed up to use it for the very first time, he was there, so I was talking to him, we were comparing guns. We discovered that the serial numbers on these guns are unique, so mine is 1265, while his was like a much lower number, only 3 digits. He showed me 2 different modifications that he's done to his gun. He did the shelf bond so that you can stick batteries in the pistol grip much easier, and he also replaced the magazine release button, which is really awkward. It's probably the awkwardest part about the gun because it's way on the back, on the right side of the gun. So for right-handed users, it's not really easy. I developed my own method for taking out my magazines, which you should see a lot of in this video. But he replaced his with a GHK G5 ambidextrous M4 magazine release. So definitely gonna buy that and modify it to fit this gun. So 2 very important mods to make this gun overall better for airsoft. So I mentioned that to put the battery in, you have to disassemble the lower receiver. I'm gonna briefly just describe what disassembly is like on this gun. So you punch out 1 pin on the lower receiver, and then the whole lower comes out. Then you have your barrel and all that. There's another pin towards the back, just behind the selector switch. You take out that, and then the butt pad will come out. And then the cheek rest will slide back and then off. So then you have access to your gearbox, and there's actually a quick release. There's a tension release on the gearbox. So if you're shooting full auto all day, and then you have a compressed spring, or say your battery dies and you got a compressed spring, you don't want to wear it out, you hit this button and it'll actually release the spring tension so you don't wear it out. So it really is just 2 pins, and then you take off the lower, the butt stock, you take off the butt pad, the cheek rest, and then the carrying handle along with, I don't know if the carrying handle comes with it, I kind of forgot. I've only done it like once, but that'll come off, and then you got like nothing left but your barrel, your front sight, your lower receiver, and your gearbox. The magazines are really high quality. The paint job and the steel that they're made out of, really nice paint, like super high quality paint. The magazines have a little bit of heft to them, and they fit perfectly in the Type 97. It's a great fit. Overall, this gun doesn't have any problems accepting regular, I guess, Tokimarui spec magazines. They all fit and feed in the gun just fine. I remember there was a YouTuber a long time ago, I'm pretty sure it's Deathcore Airsoft, or Angus. His Type 97, he said the magazine release didn't work. So Angus, if you ever somehow see this video, buy that ambidextrous GHK magazine release. You won't regret it. This gun also came with some random novelties that I like. It came with a RealSword oil can, which I guess comes with the Narinko or the real gun or whatever. It's just a little green plastic can. It looks cool, I guess. And it also came with this little container containing a bunch of metal rods that you screw together to create an unjamming rod. Now this I consider novelty as well, because if it's full metal, if you put this in your barrel, you'll definitely scratch it up and probably just ruin your barrel. So do not use that. So if you ever notice with my loadout, I always have an M9 rubber bayonet in a sheath. This gun has the bayonet locking nut on the barrel, so you could stick a bayonet on there and do a Battlefield 1, which I have done. It looks really cool, and since it's always on my loadout, if I'm running this gun, even on the field, which I have done, I could just pop on the bayonet just for looks, really. But I guess you could do a bayonet charge at someone. To go over features on this gun, in the very front, we have a Type 97 specific steel flash hider. Now, this flash hider looks to be painted black, and it looks like it used to be orange, but it's made of steel, and it is really on there. This gun has 14mm negative threading on it, so you can attach regular suppressors and stuff, but this thing is just really on there. I can't get it off. I don't know how to even do it. Moving on down, the outer barrel and the locking nut for the bayonet and the sling post in the front are all made of steel. Just below the front sight is a gas regulator, like adjustment. So say you're running a suppressor or something, or higher power rounds or whatever. You can move this around, so like there's so just above that is your front post sight. Now it looks like it might be adjustable.
Go for the headshot.
The front sight is adjustable for elevation. It's got a hole in the top ring, and it does not appear to adjust like an M16, so it might take a certain kind of tool that I don't own. Moving on forward to the handguard, we have a really comfortable handguard to hold on to. It's got these deep serrations in it, so you're not gonna like slip or anything. Just above that, where the upper receiver is, you have some holes to cool down the real gun, so all the gas can escape and everything. All of this is made out of that really tough ABS or polymer. Moving on back, we have the trigger guard and the trigger. Now, the trigger is made of polymer and it is a pretty long trigger pull, but it's not that bad. Another thing to note is that you have to line up the trigger with the trigger bar if you ever reassemble the weapon. It could be a little tricky, and you definitely cannot bend the trigger bar, or else you basically broke your gun. So the trigger is kind of a long trigger pull. It's not that bad. I've been able to do some good semi-auto shooting during gameplay. The pistol grip is nice and thin, really comfortable. I don't have any ergonomic issues with it at all. It's perfect in my opinion. The most comfortable pistol grip actually in my opinion is the L85 pistol grip. This one is just fine though. The pistol grip is serrated down the sides, and on the bottom you just press in this pin here and take off this little plastic cap to access your battery compartment. Just above that, in the middle of the gun, we have the charging handle. It is made of polymer, and then the tube that it's attached to is steel. So almost all, I would say all of the components, the metal components on this gun are made of steel. So really durable gun, except the low receiver is the duraluminum. So the charging handle does rack back to expose a hop-up. It does not go very far, which is a little disappointing. They make a Hephaestus gas blowback kit for this gun, so I'm actually thinking about getting that in the future. Gas blowback Type 97 would be pretty fucking badass in my opinion. But yeah, you rack the bolt, it exposes your wheelbase hop-up. I haven't even messed with it yet because it's pretty much been set since I got the gun. I did notice when I first got the gun, it was shooting very, very accurately with just the iron sights, and then even when I threw on the red dot, it was still hitting precisely on the dot, so I didn't have to make any adjustments to my sights in order to hit what I'm aiming at. On the top of the gun, you have a built-in carrying handle that has a multi-positioning rotating rear sight. So the rear sight can switch up to 5 different apertures, I believe. It has a 5 on it, so I'm just assuming. But I don't use it no more since I have my red dot. But it can be adjusted to 5 different holes, so different peep apertures, even a notch, which is kind of pointless. You know, who would use a notch and a notch? Almost, you'd probably hit nothing. But you have multiple options, which is cool. I really like that about this gun. So it has a certain kind of mount that will accept this RealSword specific. It even says RS on it. Aluminum upper rail, which I have attached my micro T1 replica to. It works really well. I have noticed that if you're resting your cheek on the cheek rest of the gun, your eye lines up naturally with the iron sights. But if you want to look through your red dot, you gotta pick your head up off the gun, so your cheek won't even be resting. So in the back of the gun, you have your duraluminum lower receiver with laser engraved Type 97 trademarks, along with a unique RealSword serial number. You also have your steel, I believe it's steel magazine release, which is only on that one side, and like I recommend, definitely replace that. Then you have your selector switch in the back. Since this is designed to be like the full auto one, it goes from safe to semi to fully automatic. It's a really crisp switch. It's not going to fall out. It's really tough. I believe that switch is made of steel. The markings for the fire selector are also laser engraved, just like the trademarks. In the very back, you have a sling point made of steel. I used this one, my 1 point. And you also have this rubberized serrated butt pad, which is pretty good built material. Overall, nothing on this gun is cheap. Everything is just super high quality. Alright, so gripes I have with the gun. I only have a few. One of my gripes with the gun is the tolerance. I know I say this thing is rock solid, and it is, but the lower receiver and the upper receiver kind of, like, you'll pick it up and you'll shoulder it, you'll pull it into your shoulder, and you'll kind of notice sometimes that like the upper and the lower just move a tad bit. Not rattling or nothing, but they'll move just a little tiny amount. It doesn't bother me too much, but I would like the gun to be just that much more solid. Maybe the electrical tape and a few key points would make it like that much more solid. Only other annoyances I have with this gun is obviously the positioning of the magazine release, which I'm going to fix. The battery compartment space, which I've already fixed as well. And then the flash hider. I cannot get the flash hider off and put on my suppressor. That kind of annoys me. Another thing is that if I were to use like a high profile optic like an EOTech, I want to get one of those, or just any optic that was really tall, I would have to look really high above where this gun's bore axis is. So the red dot is really high from the barrel itself, but that can probably be solved with just a little bit of hop-up adjustment. Now I'm going to describe how this gun shoots. It shoots really good. The first thing I noticed about this gun was how accurate it was. Another thing I noticed is how smooth the gearbox is. So obviously it's got really good shimming in it. It's a RealSword gearbox, so it's not cheap shit. It's not like a $150 AK. It's not like that. It shoots better than that shit. Other things I can say about the way it shoots, incredibly accurate. It can shoot really far and hit stuff. During gameplay, I got probably 2 kills, maybe a few unconfirmed kills, but the gun shot pretty good, shot really good in full auto, fed all the time, unless the magazines were acting up. One of my RealSword magazines was acting up, and then the magazine, the high cap that came with my L85 actually broke, so I ran out of ammo during the last match. Also states that the FPS is 450, which I believe is true, because when I'm done shooting my gun in my backyard, I'll take it inside. Before I unplug the battery, I'll pull the trigger once just to make sure the barrel's empty and the spring is uncompressed. And I shot my pillow and it made a hole in it, and that's never happened before. Another thing I'd like to mention as we're closing out here, the gun looks really dirty in this video, and I said it was dirty during the unboxing. It's not that dirty. I just had a lot of like shit on my hands from Fighter Town, like some old paint from the paintballs everywhere. Alright, so I hope that covers all the details. This is my favorite gun right now, the RealSword Type 97 Chinese bullpup assault rifle. Do have future plans for this gun, like the magazine release and the suppressor. Definitely going to field it a lot more in the future. So definitely stay tuned for that. Check out the unboxing, and later I'm gonna take all the cool Splinter Cell moments that were in this video and just release them in release them just in like a raw format video where, you know, there's no music or anything. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please consider subscribing. Please consider liking and sharing the video, favoriting it, all that shit. And I'll see you guys in the next video. This has been Codename Spinster Cell signing off.